Welcome back to Ninja of the Seas. Today, instead of wasting our time on the Earth, we are about to move into the moon. This is about to get interesting for my fellow audience. Without any further ado, let's move on. What if I told you that one of One Piece's most bizarre and overlooked characters already discovered the true nature of the One Piece? And he did it on the moon? Sounds insane, right? But once we start connecting the dots, from 𝐾𝐨𝐽 to the moon, from ancient civilizations to lost technology, and from Joy Boy to Enel, the picture starts to become clearer. So, sit tight, because this theory might just change how you see One Piece forever. Let's start at the beginning, with Enel, the self-proclaimed god of 𝐾𝐨𝐽. After his defeat at the hands of Luffy, Enel doesn't disappear into obscurity like many other villains. No. He embarks on a journey to the moon. Yes, the actual moon. And what's even crazier? Oda made a canon cover story arc for this journey, called Enel's Great Space Operations. It runs from chapter 428 to 474 in the manga, and what it reveals is nothing short of mind-blowing. Enel doesn't just go to the moon, he discovers ruins, advanced technology, alien civilizations, and a forgotten history that may tie directly into the Void Century and the origin of the One Piece itself. When Enel lands on the moon, he finds a civilization of small robotic beings known as the Spacies. They are being attacked by another robotic species called the Space Pirates. Enel intervenes, defeats the pirates, and essentially becomes a god to the Spacies. But here's the kicker. Through murals and ruins, Enel learns that these robots and their creators, the Moon People, once lived on the Blue Planet, which is none other than Earth, the same planet as the One Piece world. This civilization, as shown in the ruins, migrated to the moon long ago due to a lack of resources. The artwork shows three ancient races descending to the world below: the Shandians, the 𝐾𝐨𝐽, and the 𝐵𝐴𝐾𝐿s, Enel's own race. These are the winged people who live in the Sky Islands, and this directly implies that the Sky People, the Moon People, and the ancient civilization are all interconnected. Enel, by going back to the moon, essentially returns to the origin point of his people. So now the moon isn't just some random space detour, it's a central piece of the puzzle. Now let's bring in Joy Boy and the One Piece. We know that Joy Boy was a figure from the Void Century, someone who left behind a treasure at Laugh Tale that is so important and so powerful, it has been passed down from generation to generation as the ultimate goal of piracy. Roger found it. He laughed. He called it a tale, a story, a history, perhaps even a joke. But what if this treasure is not just gold or weapons? What if it's the knowledge of the world before the Void Century? A world that included contact with the moon, advanced technology, and the truth of mankind's origin. Here's where it gets juicy. Enel, by reaching the moon, literally uncovers the history that the world government wants to erase. Think about it. The world government suppresses any research into the Void Century. They destroy scholars, burn books, and wipe out entire islands to keep the truth hidden. But Enel? He stumbles upon it by flying to the moon in a golden ark. He finds ruins, technology, and history that predates even the Void Century. He finds the ancestors of the winged races. He finds the blueprint for the world that existed before the fall. And maybe, just maybe, the One Piece is not a physical object, but the complete story of this ancient world. That would explain why Roger laughed, because after all his battles, all his searching, what he found was truth. A truth so powerful, it could shake the foundations of the world government. And who else but Enel, who literally separated himself from the world, could have independently discovered that same truth? Enel's journey mirrors the themes of freedom, exploration, and lost history that permeate One Piece. He sought godhood on 𝐾𝐨𝐽 and failed, but by reaching the moon, he became something more, an enlightened being. He's now a god, not by ego, but by knowledge. And his presence on the moon ties directly into another massive One Piece mystery: the ancient weapons. Let's talk about the weapon Uranus. We've seen Poseidon, Shirahoshi, who can command sea kings. We've heard of Pluton, a ship of massive power, potentially hidden in Wano. But Uranus? Completely unknown. Now here's a theory. What if Uranus is not a ship or a person, but a power source or satellite located on the moon? After all, Uranus in mythology is the god of the sky. And what's higher than the sky? The moon. Enel's golden arc is powered by electricity, his own, and he uses ancient lunar technology to control it. It could be the remnant of Uranus, or even Uranus itself. If that's true, Enel is literally in control of a doomsday weapon without even realizing it. And if that's not enough to convince you that Enel is sitting on the edge of the One Piece itself, consider this. Laugh-Tale, the final island in the Grand Line, is hidden, unreachable without the road poneglyphs. But what if the last clue isn't even on Earth? What if the final piece of the puzzle is in the stars, on the moon? Enel could very well be the first character in One Piece to unknowingly reach the world's final frontier. And he did it not through the Grand Line, not through war, but through abandonment, by losing a fight and escaping into the stars. Let's not forget the symbolic power of the moon in One Piece. The moon shows up repeatedly, in arcs like Skypiea, Thriller Bark, and even Wano. During the Fire Festival in Wano, the 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭 clan's symbol is associated with the crescent moon. The Mink tribe, who possess the powerful Sulong transformation, awaken it under the full moon. The moon is the key to ancient power, and Enel is the one who stands upon it. Oda didn't draw that moon journey for fun. He's a meticulous planner. He once said that the cover stories are canon, and many of them have paid off later, like Beg's wedding cover story or Jinbei's journey with the Sun Pirates. Enel's arc is too massive, too rich in lore to be a one-off gag. It's filled with foreshadowing, with lost civilizations, with technology that rivals or surpasses Vegapunk's, and with hints that this small, forgotten villain might have discovered something greater than even the Pirate King. In fact, what if Enel plays a pivotal role in the final war? What if, while the pirates and marines are clashing on the surface, Enel returns from the moon wielding lost technology and history, uniting the sky races and dropping the truth like a thunderbolt from the heavens? It would be the perfect full-circle moment for a character who was once laughed at for being delusional. Turns out, he wasn't delusional. He was just early. So, did Enel already find the One Piece? Maybe not in the traditional sense, but in terms of knowledge, in terms of uncovering the truth of the world before the Void Century, in terms of touching the forgotten past that Gold D. Roger found on Laugh-Tale, Enel may be closer to the truth than anyone else in the story. And while Luffy sails toward his destiny, the man on the moon may be waiting, watching, and holding a piece of the world's greatest treasure in his golden hands. After all, as crazy as it sounds, the moon might just be where the story began. And Enel? He's already there. Here are some facts that might get you to know about Enel and how connected Luffy is with him. Enel's devil fruit, the Goro Goro no Mi, is one of the strongest Logia types in the One Piece world. It grants him complete control over lightning, allowing him to move at lightning speed, manipulate electrical currents, and generate up to 200 million volts of electricity. He can listen in on conversations from miles away by using electromagnetic waves, and even restart his own heart after being stopped. If that wasn't wild enough, Oda himself confirmed in an SBS fan Q&A that if Enel were on the Blue Sea, the main world, he would easily have a bounty of at least 500 million berries, a sum reserved for top-tier pirates before the time skip. Enel may have been a one-arc villain, but his potential is god-tier. Now contrast that with Luffy, who defeated Enel not through strategy or sheer strength, but because of one simple twist of fate. Luffy is made of rubber. His Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit, which we now know is the mythical Zoan Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, made him naturally immune to Enel's lightning attacks. This wasn't just a gag, it was a subtle stroke of narrative genius. Enel, who considered himself a literal god, was undone by a pirate who laughed in the face of fate. And post-Wano, it gets even more poetic. Luffy's devil fruit awakening revealed that he embodies Nika, the sun god, a figure of freedom, joy, and liberation. Enel, who ruled from the sky with tyranny and electricity, becomes the perfect thematic opposite to Luffy's radiant, chaotic freedom. One god fell from the sky, the other rose from the seas. Both characters also show the idea of divinity in contrasting ways. Enel declared himself a god and ruled with fear, isolation, and technological superiority. Luffy became a godlike figure by inspiring others, breaking chains, and being the living embodiment of freedom. Even their symbolic elements are opposites. Enel with his moon-based rule, cold, distant, and electric. Luffy with his sun-based awakening, warm, joyful, and untouchable. If the story ever brings Enel back, and it might, there's no doubt their rematch will go far beyond a personal grudge. It will be a clash of ancient forces, ideologies, and maybe even fate itself. We have come to the end of the video for today. Do not forget to like it and subscribe to our channel if you are looking forward to more interesting videos like this. See you on the next one.